This is one of those emergency meetings. We don't have long left. This is what we're going to be covering today, that a lot of the CMHC, the bank governors are saying we don't have very many months left. Affordability is going to continue to deteriorate. We're having prices getting squeezed down with the extra high interest rates where the banks are raising them or have forecasts that they're raising them. We have a lot to cover today. I got a lot prepared for you. So let's dig right in, you guys, into what we are facing right now. The number one article I have to show you is housing affordability will continue to deteriorate if we don't act soon. Now, this is the chief economist for CMHC. Now, this is in Canada, but this is the exact same for the United States, you guys. He says that I'm actually worried that affordability is going to deteriorate rather than improve. Well, duh, of course it is. With those interest rates going up, it is going to squeeze people really hard. It continues to say, I'm actually worried that affordability is going to deteriorate rather than improve unless we can do something about it. Okay. Now, this isn't just a nobody. He's chief economist with CMHC. He's got to be somebody, right? But what he is saying is completely detached from reality, unfortunately. So a day earlier, he said that CMHC, they actually announced that the average price of homes was $729,000 in May, up 3% from last year, even though interest rates are on the fastest rate hike ever, which is absolutely insane. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? In Toronto and Vancouver, prices way over $1 million as the average. Now, he says that Dugan is his name. This feeling about lack of affordability has been festering for some time, prompting it to ring alarm bells last summer when it revealed the country needed to build 3.5 million more homes. I don't know if you even can understand that. 3.5 million more homes. We are a country of 40 million people. To say that we need to build 3.5, even the mighty United States could not even come close to that. And the United States is around 11 times our size. Just imagine that for a second. Just try to imagine that for a second, that the United States itself, what are they going to have to build? 10 million homes? That level is insane. We haven't even built that much since the GFC. So, and we are now enacting policies all over the place that are actually compounding the problem. Canada just passed 40 million people today. 40 million. When I was a child, it was 20 million. And now, just between China and India, the largest ones, we have put in 20 million people. But we're not building any more homes. We're not building any more highways. We're not building any more hospitals. So we're just packing everybody in. Big problems are going to come from this. A lot of social problems are going to be coming from this as well. All right, let's continue on with this article. 3.5 million. That should just knock you clear off of your shoes. I can't even believe it. Starts being strained, not because of lack of interest or demand in building. Yes, right. So there is a lot of interest. Labor shortages, yes, but higher interest rates is the number one thing why we are having problems. He wants to talk about zoning issues and not in my backyard, blah, blah, blah. That is nothing compared to the bomb of higher interest rates. That's the biggest one. And they said, well, it is not unsolvable. They feel that affordability is not unsolvable. It just takes many parties moving in tandem. It really requires all of Canada an all hands on deck response. And so I could tell you right now, that is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. Not in Canada, not in the United States, an all hands on deck emergency. We can't even decide if we should send forces in, let's say, for forest fires, or if we can send in people for a hurricane. Very clear. We can't even agree what a man or a woman is. We can't agree on anything. And the political parties on each side are fighting back and forth. But he says it's only possible if it's an all hands on deck and everybody agrees. And unfortunately, we have never seen that happen in the history of our countries. And this is where we're at right now. So all hands on deck situation, I'm sorry. I mean, that's a pipe dream to me. I don't ever think that's going to happen. What are housing starts like in the United States? Let's just take an example of that. If we want to go back 10 years and take a look, where we peaked out at was 1.8 million homes in the United States. They need 10 million. And so you can see that over time that they are gradually getting better, but it just absolutely fell off of a cliff here in 2007, 8, 9, 10, right? When there was that massive crash. They were building 2 million homes per year. Now they haven't even caught up to that, number one. But what about all of the years from 2007 all the way to today that they haven't caught up with? There is now a shortage of 8 million homes just in that pocket that they did not fill. They had to stay at this level forever. That doesn't work. How does Canada behave? Well, Canada is also not really there now. 2007, 8, 9 didn't affect Canada in the same way, but we are drastically short. Let's just back this up. Look at where we are right now. We're at 200,000 housing starts. 200,000. Way, way low. You just heard what we said over here, that the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation says, how many homes do we need? He wants 3.5 million. Here it is right there again, just to remind you, 3.5 million more homes in Canada. We're only building 200,000 a year. He wants 20 years of building to happen in a year. It's not possible. But we also have to think about this other ways. How is the country letting in over 1 million? Last year alone, we have no houses, we have no hospitals, we have nothing. So countries are in a lot of doo-doo, man. And the age-old issue of just let it be immigrants. We need immigration, by the way. We're not having kids, so we need immigrants. But we have to rethink the way that we are running this system. It is broken beyond belief. Now, in Canada, we have this famous guy named David Dodge. He actually ran the Bank of Canada. Then he moved over to the Bank of England. He works for the International Monetary Fund, wrote a lot of books on it. And please note what he says. He says that Canada only has 18 months to get rid of inflation. 18 months. Now, you'd say, why is it such a shortage? Why is it so short? We're going to use this exact article and his quotes. You have 18 months to get inflation under control or risk a return to the 70s and 80s. And it's a lack of pricing predictability and social upheaval. This is really, really important for you guys to understand when he's talking about this, is because how does behaviors change? If you know that the price of, let's say, a washing machine would be $1,000 today, but it's going to be $2,000 next week, you're going to run to the store and go buy it immediately. That's what you would do. And that's that social behavior. And that social behavior will continue to change. It has to, if we know that pricing is not going to be stable. And he thinks that with a rather modest interest rate of 6%, just remember what that means. That means that mortgages will be at 10%. It will be enough to squeeze demand back in line with supply. This is a completely ass backwards way of running a country. So let me just take this example and be a little bit ridiculous about it. There is only in an economy demand and supply. That's it. All the people that want to talk about it, it's all malarkey. Here in Canada, we're freezing cold in the winter. We do not grow anything. In the wintertime, when you want a bag of apples, those apples have to come from the United States, Mexico, and they have to put them on a truck and drive them all the way up here. And they're really expensive because they have to travel. Here in the summer, when there's growing apples everywhere, now all of a sudden the price comes down. Why is that? Why? Supply and demand. If there's a lot of apples out there, the prices come down. So if the prices go up to $6 for a bag of apples in the middle of winter, and it's cold up here and they have to ship it here, is the answer to get apples cheaper to raise the price to $10? You would say, well, that's insane. That doesn't even make sense. So why would it make sense in housing? It doesn't make any sense. Why are we squeezing everybody instead of focusing on building? Supply is the only way to get prices down. Fortunately, though, through history, the cure for high prices usually is high prices. And so we're probably going to be seeing that in the future with us. Now, he does mention that he wants it back up at 6%. And then he says, if we can't do it in the next year or 18 months, we're losing. And what are we losing? A big piece of social capital. Remember, this is David Dodge, ran the International Bank from Canada and England, a social capital. So, what kind of social capital is this guy talking about? And the biggest one is going to be fiat money. Fiat money is the money that you and I use every single day. Fiat money is a government issued currency. This is the bills that we use today, a US dollar, a Canadian dollar, that is not backed by a physical commodity such as gold or silver, but rather than the government. Please go to Investopedia.com just to type in fiat money and see what it is. The value of the fiat money is derived from the relationship between supply and demand. Remember, that's the only two things that exist in the market: supply and demand, and the stability of the issuing government. If you guys are in Canada and the United States, you know 1,000% there is no stability with the governments. Zero. They're all on rocky footing. They're all broke, and they're all desperate to try to just kick the can down a little bit farther down the road until the next election comes and they can preserve their jobs. Canada, United States, Europe, Bank of Japan, it's always the same, guys. Any decade that you want to go to. Let's go to the key takeaways. Fiat money gives central banks greater control over the economy because of how they can control the money being printed. This is not an opinion piece. This is what it is. One danger of fiat money is that governments can print too much of it, resulting in hyperinflation or just regular inflation that we're experiencing today. It's money printing. Remember, Milton Friedman always says that money is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, just printing cash. Understanding fiat money, look at this. The term of fiat money is the Latin word. It's translated, it shall be, or let it be done. Thus, fiat currencies only have value because the government maintains its value. There is no utility in the fiat money itself. Fiat money is faith-based money. That is it, based on faith. And if we have no faith that the money is going to be worth money tomorrow, we're going to lose it through inflation. We're going to have more and more problems that is going to be coming down the road for us, for me, for you. Harder to pay our mortgage, harder to buy food. Food prices, we just had a report that came out and they said food prices will never go back to 2019 prices. Big shocker, right? 50% of all the currency in existence just appeared in the past 2 years. So of course, it's never going to go back to those years, unfortunately, and this is going to continue to pound on people. Furthermore, if we lose faith in the currency, the money will no longer hold value. Look at that. If people lose faith, the money is worthless. That should shock you. Why? Why are we not considering pieces of gold and silver as that is real value? This is just faith. Now, this is much different than a currency backed by gold, it continues, because it has intrinsic value. There's always money. It took blood, sweat, tears, machinery, dynamite, everything to pull this piece of metal out of the ground. This is faith. So when he is referencing a big piece of social capital could be at risk, what he is talking about is the faith in the dollar, US dollar, Canadian dollar, same thing. So reining in, he continues, what's fueling inflation? Reining in inflation will mean foregoing some consumption in the near term, which is going to be hard on some segments of the population. Okay, I got two issues with that. Number one, you guys just want to say, and this is David Dodge, run nations. Number one, when you say you have to stop consuming anything, you have to stop drinking water, stop eating as much food, live in a cardboard box. Just choking the economy is not the answer. We need more. I got to make more food. I got to make more houses. Why is that never part of the conversation? This is every time you hear from Keynesian economics people that they just say we have to make everybody eat less, live less, drive less. Everything is always less. Where do we not create more food for people? People are starving. And I don't understand that. Number two, notice what he's saying in that article. The number two portion there is he says it's going to be hard on some segments of society. What segments? I'm asking you, is it 10% of people, 20% of people that are having trouble with inflation? Or is it like 95% of people cannot afford these higher rates, the prices of food, the price of everything else? I want you just to look at a circle of 10, 15, 20 people of your friends. How many of them go, I haven't even noticed a difference of the price of food. How many of them? Because everybody I talk to is in some stage of suffering from this. So, how does this actually play out? If we're going to look at Toronto, where I live, we are seeing some absolutely crazy, crazy, crazy things happening right now. If you are taking a look at this, $1 million it was in Toronto just 12 months ago, 1,089,000. If we're looking today, that the housing prices are at 1.13. So people are not just reacting to interest rates, they have gone the other way and are bidding even higher. The level of insanity here is just crazy to me. At 1.13, I think that people are going to be lambs to the slaughter now. If you want to look at what the prices are right now, I mean, the prices have gone absolutely crazy. Now, look at what's happened with interest rates. This is just a popular product in Canada for 5-year variable and fixed rates. If you take a look at the blue here, the 5-year fixed as it goes up, it's been flatlined. But the variable, which is what most people are taking, look at that price, 6.75. And I haven't met one client. You guys know that I'm a real estate broker and I sell properties for people in Toronto. That's what we specialize in. I haven't met one client who's got a 6.75, not one. Every single time they go, they're getting an 8 or a 9%. They're like, no, 6.75 is reserved for our elite customers. The people that I know that are going have credit scores over 800. They have huge incomes, very, very low debts, and they're still getting an 8.75. Absolutely crazy. Never seen anything like that. Let's take a look at what the difference in prices are. Okay. So let's say very common $1 million mortgage last year, $1 million mortgage, 2%, 25 years, 4,200. Right now, this year, 1 million, 7.5% is 7,300. It is now $3,000 a month more expensive, not even taking into account the inflation in other parts of the economy. So, how many of your friends do you see that does not even bat an eye at $3,000 a month? We live in Canada. They tax us over 50% of our income. So that $3,000 extra payment, you got to make $6,000 more just for that. If you need a $7,000 payment per month just for this, you have to be making around $30,000 a month just to be able to afford this mortgage. You tell me how many of your friends make $360,000 a year. You let me know. Because I don't think it's going to be very many. So it's not just real estate that is doing this. They are bucking the trend even in the stock market. We see the lows that happened in 2020. It obviously went down through 2022 through the war, but it has been on a warpath just since this year started. Look at this, going from 3,800 earlier this year to 4,400, but the majority of that is in the top 8 stocks in the S&P 500, the big tech stocks. But this is just crazy what people are doing, just absolutely nuts. Now, do we think that the rates are going to go forward? Where are they going to be? So the target rate probabilities for the US Federal Reserve now is 74% that they are going to be raising the rate to 5.25 to 5.5 in July. In July, 5.5. So where are we in Canada right now? Canada is sitting at 4.75. We were very, very bad. We did not make smart decisions. We decided to not raise up that interest rate twice. Very, very spoiled kid. And we made a big, big mistake. And now we're paying for it. Now we had to raise the rates. The United States, if you take a look at the United States, it looks like Machu Picchu or something, man. Look at the height of these steps climbing up to the sun gods, just nonstop, relentless going up. And so right now they raised it 10 times. We only raised it 8. And then we just did this 9th one. We're always behind. And that's creating the problem for us right now, because if we take a look at where our dollar has been just in the past year, it has dropped like a rock. And now all of our imports are costing us more money. So we were going to be maybe raising the rate as of like May 11th or so. So you could see that our dollar was at 73 cents at that time. Now it's spiked up to 75 cents. That's a big deal when we're looking at the whole country. And that's because we raised our rate like we should have. So finally, instead of just pausing again, we're making the right moves. So that dollar is going to continue to smack us upside the head, man. We had a good dollar here sitting at 78 cents. Even if we go back a little ways, we were sitting at 83 cents not long ago. but we haven't made some really good decisions and the prices have been dropping quite drastically. So this is going to continue, you guys. We're going to continue to face these problems for the near term. Hopefully, I'm helpful to you guys and that I'm providing you some value. Hopefully, I earned your subscription. Hopefully, you'll do that. Please continue to follow me and I'll continue to try and help you. I wish you the very, very best. I hope that you keep on crushing it. Please follow us. Please hit that notification bell. Thank you, guys.